Welcome to our Healing Modalities and Everyday Wellbeing podcast. This is our first episode, and our show is really about exploring natural, holistic, and evidence-informed approaches to living healthier, happier, and more balanced lives. Whether you're looking to reduce stress, improve your health, navigate life's challenges, or discover new ways to support yourself and your loved ones, you're in the right place. So today we have my favorite topic on the table. I have the absolute pleasure of welcoming an incredible woman whose life's work has transformed the childbirth journeys of families across the globe. So Professor Gurjeet Minhas is from Joyous Childbirth Prenatal Preparation in Canada. She has a master's degree in nursing from India and Australia, a master's in English literature and sociology, and she's a Reiki grandmaster. Isn't that amazing? So Professor Gurjeet Minhas is a registered nurse, a university educator, and the founder of Joyous Childbirth. With over 30 years of international experience, she's helped over 4,000 women prepare for healthier pregnancies and empowered births through evidence-based education, personalized support, and practical strategies that build confidence for childbirth. So welcome to the show, Gurjeet. It's lovely to have you here.
It's great to be here with you, Natalie.
So today we're going to explore why so many healthy women are afraid of childbirth and what nobody tells you about preparing for childbirth. So can you tell us a little bit about your expertise to open us off?
Yes, the most common issue that people come to me with is fear about a few things. And for everyone, the fear is, personal. So it could be fear of pain. It could be fear of something happening to the baby. It could be fear of things going wrong. It could even be fear of having a very long labor because they've heard these stories from their friends and their friends have told them, oh, I was in labor for 16 hours. I was in labor for 24 hours. And so they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how long I'll be in labor for. So long story short, the fears can range from there's a wide range of fears that any woman could have.
Thank you. That makes a lot of sense. I, having had two children, remember my fear going into the first childbirth and also the ignorance and where that sets us. So what would you typically help a woman with?
Yes. So the main things that are involved if women really care about having a natural childbirth is a fit physical body. That's the first thing. Your body needs to be fit and prepared. For example, if you are running a race, would you just get up on the morning of the race and say, okay, let me put on my jogging shoes and my beautiful new, jogging pant and shirt and let me start running? Or would you practice at least a month or a couple of months in advance every day, trying to build up your stamina, trying to build up your fitness, and trying to make sure that you're actually able to run the race? So technically, labor is like hard work, right? And for hard work, you have to be prepared. It is not something that the woman's body does on a daily basis, like eating, drinking. These are natural activities because many people say, oh, birth is a natural activity, so why prepare? But, it's not something you do every day. So, yes, it's natural, but you have to prepare yourself. So, the first thing to keep in mind is a fit body. And we can go to the next one, which is equally, if not more important, is your mindset. Working at the hospital, I've seen so many women. The moment they come in, I don't think I can do it. I'm just not, it's not possible. Just take me for a C-section quickly and be done with it. I'm not meant to give birth. I don't think I can do it. Their mindset is, I cannot do it. If you approach birth with the mindset that it's not possible for you, you are the exception that God made, then, you've programmed your mind already, and that's what's going to happen. Things are not going to go, as for other women, you'll have, like, I'm not saying 100%, but you have a high chance of encountering issues, not being able to cope with the pain, and then, ending up with a C-section anyway, because your mind is already programmed and is telling you that that's the only way for you. So my body, these are the two major components, and down the road, I'll share some others also.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense to me. I was lucky to do a hypnotherapy course during the period of being pregnant with my daughter. So I found that using conscious childbirth audios to prepare my mind for it meant I was breathing and relaxing and a lot more prepared, I think, in the long run. So can you perhaps give us a little bit of an idea of the process of childbirth leading from the pregnancy into the actual experience, and what tips and tricks you think people should put in place to make sure that during the first, second, and third trimester, they're actually starting to get themselves into a space where the childbirth will be easier?
Yes. So I'll share with some very valuable and important tips, which, people often say, I wish I knew this before. I wish somebody had told me this. And that's what I'm going to share today. So the first 3 months are actually the time where your baby is starting to develop. And it's the time where the maximum development occurs. And because of this, it is very, very important to focus on your nutrition. And you might say, yes, Professor, I want to focus on my nutrition, but I'm so nauseous. I don't want to eat this and I don't want to eat that. And I'm craving junk food. Yes, all those hormonal changes are happening in the body. But remember, your baby doesn't understand no nutrition. Baby wants nutrition because baby has to grow. So when you think of it, I'm doing this for my baby, then it becomes a lot easier. And everything you put in your mouth, you just say, oh, this is going to help my baby become strong. This is going to help my baby, in this way. Or whatever comes to mind. Get vitamin C. Baby's going to get hydration when you're drinking water. So just with intention when you eat and trying to eat natural, organic foods is my recommendation. And the second thing, this seems natural, eat good food. The second thing is, unless you're absolutely incapacitated and you cannot get up, try not to take any drugs. Because medicines, yes, we sometimes say, oh, this is just simple Tylenol, or this is this medicine or that, and I really think I'll pop a few pills. No, because this is the crucial time of maximum development for the baby. And because of that, we do not want any non-natural food substance entering or affecting the baby in any shape or form during this crucial phase. So if possible, for the first 3 months, try to avoid any medicine. But if you have to, then you have to. So that's for the first 3 months. Yeah. Going on to the next 3 months, you can start now taking it a little easy and starting all the exercises that you really want to do. Because for the first 3 months, there are a lot of, sometimes women are not so healthy and they may have certain issues that make it hard for them to move around. But starting, those typically end at the end of 3 months. And then it's time to now start looking at body fitness. And we've already focused on the nutrition. Now we focus even more on hydration and good nutrition. And one of the tips I want to give you is have your plate with different colors. With different colors is a really good idea. Because if I say, oh, so many grams of protein and so many units of carbohydrate, nobody's going to remember anything. But if I say, have a colorful plate, that makes all the difference. It's so easy to remember. And colorful plate means, there's nothing to explain. It's a lot like 80% raw foods, like red, green, all these, and blue would come with the fruits, and lots of hydration. And this is so important. I have to stress it. Your blood increases by 2.5 times the normal. So suppose before pregnancy, you had 5 liters of blood in your system. During pregnancy, it increases to 7.5 liters. So 2.5 liters more.
Wow.
Because this blood volume is required for the baby. And for the extra organ development also. So there's no way you can not drink and maintain this extra volume of blood. So drinking those extra water, and water doesn't mean tea and coffee. Water means like good, nourishing water and fruits. Fruits or like watermelon, etc., can also contribute to the water content. So that's what I would like to add. So focus a lot on nutrition. And, this is the time where you can also start programming your baby. And this is something that people really, so many women have told me, I wish I knew this. I could have done so much. This is the time for programming your baby. And you can start. There's so many activities. Natalie, you might want to share some. What did you do when you were expecting?
Well, it's really important, right, to get some movement in so that you've got a little bit more flexibility. My mom actually reckons that her best birth was with me because she did yoga leading into giving birth to me. So she was a lot more supple. She had better breathing and mental control, and her body was in a better space. So giving birth was actually a lot easier for her than when you spend too much time sitting. When you get tired, you're always lying down. But it's really important to get that fresh air, even though you do need those afternoon naps as you go along so that you can give your child that rest, yourself that rest, and give your body that opportunity to start preparing for the birth process. So yeah, it made a lot of sense to me. I want to ask you something though. Do you want to give our audience a couple of ideas of what to do when you go through the discomforts that makes us want to jump across to the pharmaceuticals? How do we deal with the pregnancy process and sometimes the real uncomfortableness of it in a healthier and safer way for the baby, so we're taking in stuff that's going to help them as opposed to become detrimental? I've heard a lot of terrible stories of children that have ended up deformed as a result of taking medications, etc. If you wouldn't mind speaking a bit to this.
Yes. Thank you so much for asking that question. That is where you can use healing modalities. And those healing modalities are so simple. They're not complicated, like you have to go running to some healer or something. No, you just sit in your own house and you can use your own powers and heal yourself. For example, suppose you have some backache that's troubling you, or suppose you have pain in your groin area, which is called a round ligament pain, and it's low in the groin area. Then you think, okay, should I go to the doctor or can I do something? That's what I'm talking about. So, and it can be even issues like you're very nauseous, and you don't know what to do. And the doctor says, I'm going to put you on these pills. And you say, okay, let me try something else where maybe my nausea will come down. So in those circumstances, you would use this technique. So I would encourage any member of the audience who currently has pain anywhere in the body, right? They can start doing this technique right now with me as I speak and watch what happens. So just for wherever the pain is, let's talk about pain, because that's the commonest and that's what really incapacitates us. And we say, oh, this pain is horrible. I have to do something. I just can't go on. So focus on the pain, wherever the pain is, focus on the pain and nowhere else. Don't get distracted. Your complete attention on the pain and just sit with it and keep breathing. And your attention should be on the area where there's pain.
Okay.
And just keep breathing. And you might have to breathe for 1 or 2 minutes. But as you breathe, you will start noticing that the pain is starting to shift. It's becoming less acute, and it's starting to disappear. You might be shocked, surprised. So I'm going to stop for the sake of, because we are talking here, but you can go on for 2-3 minutes till the pain is completely gone. And this is so powerful. This is one. And there's another very powerful one that I teach, and I'm happy to share it with your audience, Natalie. That is, you simply focus on the pain. This is technique number 2. Simply focus on the pain and repeat 3 words, only 3 words. And you have to just repeat them. It's so easy. Just say, and I'll give you the 3 words. D story, like DED, story, like, the stories we tell each other, STORY. So D story, transform, and release.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, So simple. Write these words down. De-story, transform, and release. So if you made a note of it, you can try it uh, after this talk is done, and you can repeat it 10 times, 20 times till the pain is completely gone or the nausea is completely gone. So all you have to do is, focus on the issue and say all this pain or all this nausea or all this whatever you're experiencing, de-story, transform, and release. De-story, transform, and release 10 times, 20 times. How's that, Natalie?
Oh, that sounds absolutely amazing. If anybody in our audience tries these techniques, please feel free to pop it in the chat and let us know your experience and your thoughts. And it might actually help someone else as well. So thank you so much for sharing those, Gurjeet, because honestly, if there's one thing that childbirth is about, it's really pushing us out of our boundaries. And, even though we have all gone through premenstrual pain and everybody's experience there is different, and I believe that that's really to prepare us for when we do the childbirthing experience. There's absolutely nothing that really prepares us an understanding on how to cope with the actual bearing down pain aspect. I found doing the conscious breathing and all of that leading into the childbirth helped me. But when the bearing down pain hit, I was out of my depth, honestly. What are your tips on how to deal with that so that it doesn't debilitate you and cause you to possibly take steps like, for instance, epidurals, etc.? What are your thoughts on that?
So there's a lot to do during the time of labor, but there's even more to do during pregnancy. So because during pregnancies, all the tips and techniques and strategies put in place. But let's talk about during labor. So it's time to push the baby. You want to avoid the excruciating pain. So there's a few tips I want to give you. First of all is do not start pushing early. Your pushing should start when the baby's right at the perineum, like like you'll hear the doctors talking, oh, it's just station 1, station 2. So just wait for the station to be more than 2. So it should be +3, +2, +3. That is the best time you can start pushing, which means the baby's already positioned well, the baby's already come down, and now you actually don't even have to push and strain yourself. You just breathe, and I'm going to tell you the way to breathe. It's called the J breath, and you can actually Google it for people who want to know exactly how to do this breath. You can Google the J, like ABCDEF, J breath, and it is simply you're breathing in the form of a J. Your mouth is literally like open, and you're like. So it's the opposite of what hospitals ask you to do. The hospitals ask you to close your mouth and then close your eyes and then push that way. But here in the breath, you open your mouth, jaws are relaxed, and you are simply breathing the baby out. There is pushing and there is no straining. So it's a very gentle to ease the baby out. Because let me share with you, like we are so like, oh, that's bearing down pain. We've had people who don't even bear down for a second, and the baby literally, so smoothly coming out. And they're like, oh my gosh, the baby's here. Like, they didn't push or didn't do anything. So it is quite effortless. We just don't need to make it that strenuous. But the first step, like I gave you, was do not push before the baby's ready to come out. And when the baby's high, even if the doctor or midwife says, just say, I'd like to wait for the baby to come down further before I start pushing.
Okay, that makes sense. Now that leads me to my next big question. Obviously, when you're having your first baby, when everybody keeps saying, but you're not dilating and you're not dilating, and then they eventually always trying to lead in sort of doing the Caesar, how do you keep your mindset when you really want to do a natural childbirth? You're medically okay to do this. How do you keep yourself on that trajectory without stressing and panicking about the fact that this isn't happening, and not be convinced into going the Caesar route, for instance, when you're not really in need of it?
A lot of this has to do with your preparation, Natalie. Because
Okay.
if you've prepared your mindset and you've programmed your mind for natural birth, and that's where I teach women to, program their mind, and specifically for the baby being in the perfect position for birth. Because most often the baby is in an awkward position, and that's when labor stalls, the woman doesn't dilate, and then issues arise. So if you pre-programmed your mind for baby being in the best position, then everything else just literally flows into place. But talking about, suppose you haven't pre-programmed, you haven't done anything, like that was me for my first baby. I didn't do anything. And many women, even now, they don't do anything because they think, and this is not to judge myself or to judge anybody else, but it is what it is. Some women prepare and some don't. So what happens is you have a lot of fears and you have a lot of energy blocks in your system, and they can sometimes come in the way, come into play at the most inopportune moments when you really don't want them, but that's when they decide to show up. And these
Okay.
energetic blocks actually prevent the baby from getting into a proper position, prevent your body from dilating. So that's why I'm so passionate about women preparing themselves during pregnancy so that all these fears can be released. And then the energy in your body is just like so natural and everything is in the flow and you don't encounter such issues. But suppose, like, you are encountering such issues, I would recommend having a conversation with the physician or midwife and asking them, can we wait? And while we are waiting, do not panic. Just say, I know I'm going to have a natural
Okay.
childbirth and it's just a matter of time. And my baby is getting ready to come naturally. So I'll just wait for my baby. And meanwhile, just get out of that bed. Do not stay on the bed like this. Get out of the
Okay.
bed, move around. If you can, do some belly dancing. If you can, do some lunges, like take a stool, put your foot up, second
Okay.
foot up, down. These are called lunges. And they sort of, help the pelvis to jiggle and wiggle and get the baby in a proper position. And once his head is in the proper position, then the cervix also starts dilating and the process also starts, quickening, and everything then happens but the most important tip I'd like to give you is move your body. And the other way is to relax it. And how can you relax it? The hot shower. If
Okay.
possible, if there's a washroom nearby with hot water, just simply go there and let the hot water run on your body. I have found that the hot water relaxes you so much, and before you know it, it's like everything's happening so quickly. So relax your
Okay.
body, move your body.
I love that. So, what you're saying really here is that if you can be in the process from the start in preparing yourself, preparing your body, doing all of these exercises and getting everything mobile and having your mindset in the right place, that childbirth is actually an easier process than we give it credit for. So, can you perhaps tell me why would you suggest natural childbirth, so having them come through in a natural way than through a Caesar, in your opinion?
Yes. So WHO recommends a 15% C-section rate across the globe. And that is for emergencies that are out of control and that put the baby, under extreme risk, and the mom also sometimes. So if that's the
Yeah.
case, then a C-section is warranted. But to answer your
Okay.
question, why do I prefer natural childbirth? There's so many reasons. Number one, if you look around you, human beings are mammals, basically. So look around you at the mammals and how do they deliver? They all sort of deliver naturally, vaginally, like they're meant to be.
Yes.
That's one thing. So you're in the flow, you're with nature, you're like, in balance with your body and surroundings. And that's okay. Like theory, that's okay. But what are the benefits? You benefit because there's quick recovery, very quick recovery. Like in a day or so, women in our hospital, they leave after they've had their baby, they leave in 6 hours because they are up and about and they're like, oh, I want to go home. And they're gone in 6 hours if they had a natural birth.
Yes.
But no way after a C-section can they leave. They have to stay for 2 days
Okay.
minimum, and if maybe 3. So the recovery period
Wow.
is extended. Plus, what most women forget is C-section is major surgery, and major surgery has its consequences. Infection,
Yes.
issues inside, internal bleeding, you name it. Pain continues for a long time. So those are some of the complications you should be ready for. And I'm not forgetting about the drugs. We pump the woman's body with so many drugs, narcotics, you name it, anesthetics during the process of surgery. We have to give those drugs to eliminate the pain. And those drugs have terrible side effects. And the woman has to then cope with the side effects of the drugs. That's not just the woman. The little baby is also exposed to those narcotic drugs, even before birth. And so baby suffers as a result too. And there's difficulties with breastfeeding, latching on, other things that can come up. And even one thing that people ignore is being exposed to the natural body bacteria or flora, as we call it. The baby is exposed to that during natural birth. Baby gets covered with all the bacteria and then develops immunity accordingly. Whereas in a C-section, we literally just lift the baby out and baby is not exposed to any bacteria. And so that affects the development of the immune system too. So there's I could go on and on. There's a huge difference. And that's why I really am so passionate about helping women have a natural birth.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Now, what are the challenges that you would say women face at this particular point in time in their lives moving into childbirth?
So currently, the major challenge that I notice is lack of support. Earlier, I remember many years ago, they lived with their in-laws, or there was some elder person around helping them, aunt or someone, or even nearby, who would come and help them. But now it's more of a single family, and people are preferring their privacy and independence. And of course, I'm not saying that they shouldn't, but what
Yes.
does that mean? That means that they often lack the support that they could have gotten if somebody was around them. So they have to make sure that some sister, aunt, friend, or someone is there to help them. And in cases where there's no one, that's a challenge. And then, of course, they end up hiring a doula who may come and, take the place of someone. So at least they have someone. But if they don't have finances to be hiring more help, then it's a challenge.
Okay, so that would obviously bring us back to how important your birthing partner is during that period of time. Are there any tips that you could give the new fathers so that they could be supportive during the pregnancy and leading into the childbirth that would make it an easier process and more likely to go the natural childbirth route?
Yes. So it's very, very important for the dad or the partner to be prepared. And simply, this is because the partner is not a birth professional. The partner is a IT professional, teacher, firefighter, whatever. They're in their own profession. They don't have a clue about childbirth. So it becomes almost like impossible to know how should I support my partner during the pregnancy and birth. So it's very, very important for new fathers or to be attending classes, researching, and talking to other dads, attending maybe parenting groups to find out what exactly happens, so that they're like, oh, I better be prepared for this, and I should make sure I have this ready, and this is how I can advocate for my partner. This is like what, when she's unable to talk or she's not in a mood to talk, then I can tell the care providers, well, she absolutely wants this. And so help her to get it, because there's no point afterwards saying, oh, I didn't know you wanted that. So getting to know their partner and what she needs and supporting her throughout with whatever it is. And another thing which I say in a joking way is, if you know that she's not supposed to eat certain foods, don't bring junk foods and sit in front of her and smack your lips and eat it. because that's not, that's not good. So support her with her eating.
I like that. Now, what about if you do not necessarily agree with the process that she wants to follow? What's your advice to a father then, so that they can possibly, overcome that objection within themselves and still be able to be there to speak for what she wants, as opposed to step in and be pushy and bully?
The answer is very simple. Sit down with her and ask her why she wants that. Because once
Okay.
you understand why she wants that, you'll say, oh, I never thought of that. And if
Okay.
you think that that's not a valid enough reason, you can put your reason in front of her and see if she can understand your point of view. And it's very simple. Either you understand her or she understands you, and you come to a consensus. And of course, sometimes if you're still not, get someone, a third party, to come and talk and share their views. Because sometimes your partner may not listen to you, but they'll listen to somebody else. They'll say, oh, yeah, she said it. So that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. And that brings me to another one. What about during the process of the pregnancy leading to the childbirth? How important is it for the father figure to support her so that even though there are those mood swings and unhappiness and chaos, how can he support her without it turning into full-blown arguments, which obviously also affects the baby and the process and how she experiences childbirth? What are your suggestions for conflict management so that they can sort of maintain a more peaceful and supportive environment during the process?
This is such an important question, Natalie. So in the heat of the moment, it's very easy to stand there, get angry, and start arguing. So when you notice her temper flaring up, just simply leave the room.
Okay.
Even if you want something even if you want to say something, just simply leave the room. And then this is for dads. This is for dads. Pay attention. Go into another room. Of course, close the door if you can in a private space, and then feel your anger. It will be in some part of the body. It'll either be in the chest, in the tummy, it could be in the head, arm, anywhere. Just close your eyes and feel all this anger. Where is the anger? Scan your body. And when you locate it, suppose I've located the anger in my chest. It's like, focus on that feeling. It's right here. And then imagine, this is all imagine. You don't have to do anything. Imagine that there's a window here. Open that window and breathe. As you breathe out, imagine all the anger going out of the window like black smoke. So whatever you feel the anger as, imagine it all melting and turning into black smoke. And as you open the window, the black smoke goes out. Close the window. Breathe in fresh air. Open the window. Let the black smoke out. Close. Breathe air in again. Nice fresh air. Open the window. Let the black smoke out. So as you keep on opening this window and letting the smoke out, you will notice that the color of the smoke from dark starts to lighten. It becomes a less black, then gray, and then eventually it's just like steam. And when you notice that all the smoke has gone, you're done. Your anger is gone. You can smile, have a glass of water and do whatever you want to. And then when you go back, you will speak differently.
Yes. Makes sense. Because, when you're in that conflict mode, everything's about defensiveness and fighting, and you don't actually come to that conclusion where the two of you can actually arrive at a peaceful decision between you. I really believe in agreeing to disagreeing. You don't always have to agree, but you definitely don't always have to fight, right?
Yes.
Okay, so can you perhaps tell me some of the common myths that you would address?
One of the common myths is that I can do it myself, and I don't need to prepare. Okay. Like, it'll happen. I'll do it. I'll manage when the time comes. That's a huge myth, because when the time comes, you also start panicking when the pain hits you and you just don't know what to do. And people are giving you advice and you don't know which one to follow and what you should be doing. Your body isn't responding the way you thought it would respond. And now you're like,
Yes.
okay, now what? That's one.
Ah,
Second myth is common, very common. Oh, my husband will support me. My mother-in-law is there. She will support me. My friend, my dear friend, she'll come and help me. Well, the dear friend, the husband, the mother-in-law, they are helpless when the time comes, and they generally end up leaving the room, and because they don't know
ah,
what to do. And then whenever the doctor makes a suggestion, they say, as you wish, doctor, you know best, and whatever you say is what we will do, because they are not educated in childbirth. They don't know what the issue that has arisen means and what is the best outcome. So
ah.
yes, they can provide emotional support for you. They can hold your hand. They, with their presence, they can be very supporting. But when issues arise, then their support is really not helpful.
Okay, and myths related to the doctor?
Just explain that.
You mentioned something about expecting the doctor always knows best and he'll look after me well. What's your thoughts on that myth?
Yes, doctors are medical professionals. They look after you extremely well. There is no doubt about that. But at the same time, we have to remember that they they also have limited time. They cannot
Okay,
spend time with you sitting there addressing each and every of your issue that arises during the labor process. So they
okay,
eventually end up coming when they're called. They look at the situation, they look at what's going on, they look at the maybe the fetal heart and see how that the baby's doing well. They look at all that, they give their opinion, and then they leave, right? So it's the nurse who's there with you all the time. So
okay,
that's one thing. They cannot provide the continuous support. Second, they are also rushed. They have to go and attend other patients, and they are always short on time. They are literally, I've seen them running from one room to the other, and they have to because there are so many patients around, and they are wanted everywhere. So it's a lack of time. And so sometimes they see, okay, this is happening. Let's maybe go for a C-section. Let's not wait any longer. So that cuts down the
okay,
time period for them too. And also, there are legal consequences. So sometimes if things go wrong, the doctors are responsible. They are the primary care providers. If something happens to you or the baby, guess what? Who's in trouble? It's the doctor, because they are the deciding
ah,
authorities. So they have to think of
yeah,
that also. So they are torn between all these issues, and then you know seeing what they can do for you. So ultimately, I think it's a lot for the woman if she can prepare her mind, body during pregnancy, take her control that this is what I want, this is what I'm going to do. Of course, with safety, keeping in mind the safety of the baby and the safety for herself, which the doctors will guide you and tell you, okay, this is what's happening. Yes, we can wait, or no, we cannot wait. So, depending on that, she can take control and decide. And that is what I would recommend.
okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. And now, when you've obviously now got a woman who's feeling stressed, and as you say, the doctor can't answer all the questions because he's busy and all over the place. What is your advice for the woman so that she can possibly have a little bit more trust in the nurses that are there standing by her side at that point, but the doctor isn't? Because obviously we always want to rush to the doctor. How can she set her mind so that she doesn't feel out of sorts as a result of not having access to him?
Mhm. So, one of the things I would recommend is for every woman to have a birth plan. So, you'll say
Okay.
birth plan. Uh, yeah, birth plan is simply take a piece of paper and write down your wishes for birth. Like, what are the things you'd like to experience? How would you like your room to be? And you can always pull up a birth plan from, Google, or ask one of your friends. And it's very easy to access a birth plan template. So you get your
Okay.
birth plan ready, and then you give it to your nurse, and she if you see that she's going through it, reading it, and whatever you want is what she's trying to do, you will build up trust in her. Second, is she answering your questions correctly? Does she bring up your concerns to the doctor? Yes. So all these things, and if you tell her, oh, I'm experiencing this, does she look the other way, or does she say, oh, I'll help you with that. I'll get this for you. This will make you comfortable. All these little things, they add to you building trust in the nurse. So it's not something
Okay.
that you have to do. It's on both sides. Like you
Yes.
participate, you see the response, and then you gradually build up your trust in the nurse.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, I had both of my children at a government hospital where the nurses are not necessarily there for you. So, how do I provide myself with support when I'm not getting it from the nurse?
Yes, perfect. That is such an important question. And that's exactly what I mean by taking responsibility for yourself. And how do you do that? You can, simple, it comes down to the same things again. Physically fit body, a fearless mind, program your mind for birth, visit the hospital in advance, do a tour, and find out, okay, this is where I'm going to give birth. These are the things that are available. These are the things I have to bring from my home or I have to buy because nobody's going to give them to me. And then get all those things and, be prepared. Doesn't matter what anyone does. Doesn't matter what anyone says. You know what to do. You just listen to your body and go with the flow and use the things that you've got with you that are going to help you to relax and move around and listen to music and just be in your own space where nothing outside matters.
I like that. Okay, so did you have a couple of other healing modalities or ideas that you wanted to share with our audience today?
One, I want to say one very simple one. Sometimes, we have fears in our mind, and we are afraid of, uh, you know, um, of them, but we are scared and we don't want to share them with anyone. That is not correct. What you need to do is ask anyone around you, if you can, or the doctor during pregnancy, is this what I'm thinking? Is it true?
Okay.
And then the doctor will say, no, 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 that never happens. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I was so scared of that. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
One of the clients I worked with, she said, I'm so scared, that when I'm going to have my baby, I'm going to poop. My poo will
Okay.
come out because they tell you to push like you're pooing. So then poo will also come out. And
Okay.
so I said, it, you know what? Let me tell you, a little bit of poo may come out and nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
The nurses around you will simply wipe and throw it off. And that's the end of it. It happens to most women. And no one gives a second thought to it. And she was like,
Okay.
okay. Now I'm not so scared. If I poop, I got poop. It's not a big deal. That's what I mean. Your fear, just open up, talk to somebody. Is it really true? And if it is true,
Okay.
if it's not true, it's gone. If it is really true, ask how that fear can be eliminated. Like, is there anything I can do so that it doesn't happen to me? And then see what people tell you. And you can follow advice because people who are sharing their advice would have done that and they would have solved the issue that you're thinking about and fearing so much.
Oh, that makes sense. So basically, don't be scared to ask, don't be scared to research, find out as much information as you can leading up to it so that you have basically covered all the bases, right?
Basically, sometimes we make mountains out of little molehills.
Yeah, no, that's one thing we do, isn't it? Is create chaos in our minds. So, can you perhaps share an anonymous client story with us related to natural childbirth?
Yes. I had this story about this lady, SD, I'll call her. And it was her first pregnancy, and she was about 8 months expecting her baby. And she came to me and she was so stressed out, so stressed out. She'd been preparing her body, doing the things she could. But the doctor told her, SD, you're too weak. And we don't think like for you, you should go for a natural childbirth. It's not possible for you. And I recommend you book a C-section and I can give you good dates and all. And she came running to me and she said, you know what? I really want a natural childbirth. And this is what the doctor said. And if they're pushing me, what should I do? So I said, you have the right to refuse. Sometimes women do not know that they have the right to refuse certain things. So if the baby is safe and it's not yet time and there's no like pressing issue that warrants a C-section, you can say, doctor, I would like to wait. And that is
Okay.
exactly what she did. And I worked on her for an hour, and every single fear that she had, I helped her to release it. She had a lot of fears going on, and that's why she was in that panic state. So after
Okay.
releasing all those fears, she said, I feel so much calmer and better now. And I'll tell my doctor that I would prefer to go natural. And that's what she did. And then, would you believe it? She had a beautiful natural birth. She was a bit anemic. So she was a little like, um, uh, 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 I want to say still anemic. She didn't all of a sudden, all the anemia go away. She was still a
Yes.
little anemic, but she had a beautiful natural birth. And till today, she thanks me for it.
Oh, that's
So it's
fantastic. What a
like
beautiful
yeah,
story.
getting your fears out and not thinking that anything that the doctor says, you have to say yes to it. So
Okay.
I'll give you another example, another story. Um, After birth, it's mandatory here that we put erythromycin eye ointment in baby's eyes. And the premise is that it will prevent sexually transmitted diseases. But I always tell my clients that if you are sure that neither you nor your partner has any sexually transmitted disease, you have the right to refuse the erythromycin eye ointment for your baby.
Okay.
Because you'll say, why no, let it be, it's okay, let them put. No, sometimes I've seen babies where we put the eye ointment, they develop chemical conjunctivitis and the
Oh,
eyes
wow.
are red and all. So it's like a chemical we are putting in. And if we can
Yes.
avoid it, why not? But if you think, no, I may have, let's protect the baby's eyes, that's a different story.
Yeah. I like that. So once again, remembering that just because the medical profession says that, if your gut says something else, there's nothing wrong with going with your gut, because sometimes that's really the driving force. Because after all, childbirth is natural. Everybody does it, like you said. Mammals do it all the time, and there's no one telling them that they have to do it any other way than what is natural and comfortable for them. Okay, so is there anything you'd like to say that, or any extra information you'd like to hand?
One thing that I really strongly recommend is take responsibility for your birth. Take responsibility, take the natural actions, educate yourself, make yourself strong and fit for birth. And also, one thing in passing, which we didn't have time to talk about a lot, is make your baby your partner, and that
Ah,
comes with developing
yes.
a relationship with baby during pregnancy. So talk to baby, sing to baby, uh, you know, pat baby, play games with baby, get baby's answers, responses, and tell baby everything that's happening. And then you can also tell baby at the last minute, come on, baby, hurry up. I'm just waiting to see you, have you in my arms. And baby says, oh, mama's waiting. Let me come quickly. So there's a lot you can do if you make baby your partner in birth.
Okay, now before we close, I didn't think to ask you, what is it that you do with the women that would be a good idea for them to come to you during the pregnancy and birthing process that will make it a better experience for her?
Yes. Uh, my main focus is on first time moms. So I help them to prepare themselves physically, mentally, emotionally, program their minds, get ready for an amazing natural childbirth. And I also support them with any issue they may have, because pregnancy
Okay.
has a lot of unknowns. Things happen. And then you're like, okay, the doctor said this. What could I do? Then you have someone holding you, guiding you every step of the way. That's how I support women. So during pregnancy and after pregnancy, like postpartum, for 2 months is the period I support women with any challenges they may experience. And I have my educational program to support them. So these two things, the education and the support, is what I offer.
Okay, and do you need to have them locally where you are, or can you support women from anywhere in the world?
I can support women anywhere in the world. And sometimes, if you've experienced trauma, maybe from a previous childbirth, and you say, like, every time I try to be okay, but this trauma is like, I just can't get over it. I help, I do trauma counseling and get the trauma out of your system for good.
Well, that's fantastic, which means at least the next birth is going to be a little bit calmer. I like that. That's fantastic. Now, I believe that you have a couple of gifts for our audience. Would you like to tell them a little bit about that?
Yes, I do have the free report, which you can drop in the chat. It's about, three things that you can do for the welfare and health of your unborn baby, because that's what will really help them, okay, I need to do these things for sure. So that free report is there. And if anyone has an issue or would like my help, we can drop the Calendly link and they can, no charges for that. They can have a chat with me and we can then determine how I can help them or what their next step would be.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, when do you suggest a mother comes to you? When is the ideal time to arrive?
The ideal time is as soon as they know they're expecting, that is the best time. And the next best time is whenever you say, oh, I didn't do it, but I really need to now get myself prepared. That's the next best time.
Perfect. Thank you. I really appreciate you being a guest with us today. I cannot wait to see how many people get the opportunity to have a natural childbirth with your guidance. After all, it is the best opportunity, the best idea. And I really, really, really am excited about the fact that we could have this chat today because it's not something that people advocate as a norm, especially where I am. And for me, I think it was really important. And funnily enough, why did we launch Healing Podcast was really because I met you and I felt that your message was so important. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we close?
Not particularly. I just wish the best for every new mom. And I just want to add that remember, you are shaping the future generation. You are the one with so much power to literally change the life of a human being. Give it the best, strong start in life.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for being a guest today, Gurjeet. I really appreciate it. So, to my audience, thank you for joining us today. Today's conversation has inspired you. Remember that healing is rarely about finding one perfect solution. It's about discovering the combination of practices, support, and daily habits that work for you. So, subscribe to our channel for more conversations with experts in holistic well-being, emotional resilience, personal growth, and natural approaches to healthier living. Please feel free to have a look in the description. You will find all the information that you need there related to our guest today, her gifts, and her links. Please reach out to her and do it the way that's best for you and your baby. Thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to speaking to you soon.